Union. Houseboats. Hey everybody, it's me, Russ, hanging out at one of Seattle's tiny parks. Today, I'm in Vinny the van today, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by the channel. If you like the video, like the freaking video. Just hit the like button. It's not that hard, and it's free, what you're experiencing here. Also, yeah! Here's earlier today, before I left the house. I was a little stressed out, all right, people, I'm running a little late. Prince the van here is acting up. It's got like a cough or something. It's probably not too serious. More than likely just plug wires, or I need to clean the air intake. It sounds probably more like a fuel thing, but I'll figure it out. So we're gonna take Vinny. I'm gonna put Vinny back in action. That and Vinny's air conditioner works. As it's been getting hotter. We're close to the first day of summer, Friday. And there's that. I hit the boost on the little jump box here. And there it goes. There's a parasitic draw that's worse than the solar panel, so there we go. He fires right up. It's doing fine. Vinny's been sitting for a minute. Look at that. Okay. Since I'm taking Vinny the van, I'm reaching in to grab a random reach CD. All right, stuff in the van. Focus, here we go. In the gritty city once again. Vinny the van back in service. Driving across the old Ship Canal Bridge. Late spring 2025. Gonna exit over here. Gonna do a gig on East Lake. East Lake it's called. The East Lake neighborhood. So Prince the van, the purple van, does not have a CD player. Well, it does, but it doesn't work. So this one, CD player works. So I'm in the lap of luxury when it comes to my beat up minivans. And what did I grab for today's random reach? The Killers Hot Fuss. I think I have more than one copy of this now. I was just. You ever do that? You go to a thrift shop or a garage sale or whatever, you pick up, do I have this? And then, yeah, I have it. So I'll probably send that along to somebody out there. In my opinion, this is the debut album of the Killers album. The first album of, like, I don't know, 14 now, I believe they're up to. It's the best. This is one of those, the debut album is the best album, right? Just, that's my opinion. It's an amazing album. Went like, it first released in the UK and then released here like a week later in summer of 2004, I believe it was. And this will make you feel old, I'll bet, if you remember when that album came out. It is now 21 years old. That's right. If the Hot Fuss album were an American person, it would be able to go to the bar, buy tobacco products, marijuana here in Washington State, and it could go to the movies, sign a contract, that kind of thing. It would be a full-fledged adult. Anyway, I'm rolling through, here's the zoo. Here's an iconic little tavern, hole-in-the-wall venue. Some rock and roll shows happen there. It did better in the UK, which is interesting. And some of the history around punk, right? Coming back to punk, I guess you would call it. And here's how I see this this resurgence, right? Nirvana comes along, and you know, it's funny. It's like the Mopop Museum has this Nirvana exhibit, and the tagline is "Bringing Punk to the Masses." So that sort of alternative Seattle sound was popular, you know, early mid '90s. Even towards the end of the '90s, he got more into emo music, and then the early 2000s, a lot more pop punk bands, and I enjoyed that. There's a lot of folks that didn't, and you know what? Green Day came to popularity towards the late '90s. I mean, sure, they had the Dookie album was pretty awesome. I guess that was mid '90s, and then you had, you know, bands like Good Charlotte, and on it goes. There's a lot of punk rock became popular, right? I could name, those are the big pop punk bands that come to mind. There's just a bunch of cool bands that came out in the early 2000s, and I really dug that sort of resurgence of punk rock becoming popular music again. And so when this album came out, I was like, wow. Like, I remember 2004, it wasn't a great time for like physical media, right? There was also in the early 2000s that sort of rebellion against the machine that is the recording industry, you know? They just crank these things out on a machine so fast. Like, it's way easier to make CDs than it is to press vinyl records, all right? Don't give us that malarkey. One example. And the price, right? People were feeling like they were getting gouged by, you know, $15, $20 for a CD release. And that was back, you know, back then. So when Napster came out, you know, Lars from Metallica lost his freaking mind and pissed off all the fans, you know. I mean, that's another example of the fallout from that. But it was really hard on record stores. I remember talking to Matt Vaughn at Easy Street Records, and he was saying, yeah, you know, the little restaurant that they created there, that really helped them get through that time. And, you know, now it's pretty cool that the restaurant really, like, they're not making a bunch of money off the restaurant. The food there's affordable. If you ever come to Seattle, you can eat at Easy Street. I wouldn't recommend going on the weekends. It's long waits. But if you're here during the weekdays and not tourist season. Anyway, I digress. Hot Fuss had that, you know, proto-punk kind of sound, that new wavy sound that was really cool. It was like new wave with speed, right? With attitude, with this sort of the early 2000s thing spin on it, right? But it did sound very kind of 80s also, which is right, which is amazing that that did so well, even better than it did here in the States. The band is from Las Vegas, Nevada, all right? You can't get much more American than Las Vegas, Nevada. And I heard another guy in the vinyl community, I won't mention any names, but from the UK, and he was sort of like shitting on 80s music and stuff like that. And it was just like, okay, well, how come it was so popular, right? And how come that Killers album in the early 2000s was so popular? I guess it's the same, maybe it's the UK equivalent of people hating on Green Day. I freaking love this album. All the Things That I've Done is probably a favorite of mine on this record. Just amazing. And here we are on the east side of the lake. East Lake. Each one of the streets that end on the water here in Seattle, it's a weird rule or law that each one has to have a park. So Seattle has probably more parks than any other city, just because anytime a street ends at the water, we got to build a park. And there's really a bunch of cute little tiny parks here on East Lake. Diagnosed and fixed a couple of outlets that weren't working, and that took about 20 minutes. Rolling out of this job here on East Lake, and why not hit up a tiny park? And people might think, $124 for 20 minutes of work, Ross, that's pretty good money. Well, you know, it is, but I also work on build time. So I charge an hour and a half minimum for a diag, like fixing something like that. And now, you know, my next task isn't until 1:30, so I just didn't have to work as much as was what's going on. But as far as making money, I'm not, right? It's $85 an hour, so that's pretty good. Ooh, look at that. Getting lucky with the parking space open here. Huh? Yep, bunch of these little parks on Fairview here. Might as well check this place out, right? Whoa, that needs some work. Okay, we got the K2 skis. Nice view. Ah, it's holding up the branch here. Brilliant. Brings a little shade. All right, that makes sense. Off we go. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. 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 I got soul, but I'm... And now off to a gig in Magnolia, which is west. I hear Duff McKagan lives in Magnolia. I'm not going to tell you where, because I don't know. But I know another contractor that does refrigeration units, and he said he worked at Duff McKagan's house. It's pretty freaking cool. Anyway. All right, people. I am exhausted. Exhausted. Put up, yeah, these 3-4 light fixtures. High altitude light fixtures. So 15 feet for the 3 of them, because they were on the countertop, and I got to, you know, put my ladder on the countertop there, get those put up. And then the chandelier one, that was a little trickier. Little scaffolding. So that was, yeah, that was quite the job. It's almost, geez, going on 7 o'clock almost, headed home. And still trying to get some energy. I had an old cassette tape in here from the record up the Gits. If that'll get me some energy and get me home. The Gits.